Very much
Good.
so. And you know what else is convenient? The Hub, episode 148.
Ah, shit.
What's good? You have Ron Sar in the house, Ninja Iceberg, Joff Simis, aka Mannequin. You feel? uh, we're gonna play catch up. Make sure you guys are sharing this right now. Appreciate you guys. Thank you guys for checking out the stuff. And let's take this time to share this page real quick. You know what I'm saying? Anyways, we hope everybody's good. I'm gonna go live on Kumu now. Also, hopefully we're on. And we are. Thank you guys so much for joining us. Again, my name is Ron. That's Waldo. That's Joff. This is the Hub 408. What's good? We're going to be talking about all types of all types of stuff has happened and all the things that we love. Um, of course, this is a pop culture show, so famous celebrities are just constantly in the news, or things are now done or resolved, or and things happen literally right before even we're gonna get on the show. So shout out to everyone. Uh, I see Debbie, I see Chris, Jomar. Welcome to Kumu. Thank you guys for joining us. If you guys aren't robots or whatever, shout out to you guys out there. If you guys happen to be robots, what's good? Um, before we got on, I had to hit up Joff on some like, hey, are you caught up with Obi-Wan? Because that's something that me and Waldo really wanted to get into last week, but we moved it up. Uh, Kamai Shoes is in the house. What's up? Hi. Oh, Contra. Hi. What's up, guys? ¿Cómo está?
Yeah. Fuck Obi-Wan, but I'm part of washed motherfucker. Old ass.
Let's. Yeah, I was gonna say we can. Yeah, we can
Lying,
talk about this. The.
lying ass Obi-Wan. Fucking
Uh,
liar.
No, it's all a different point of view, man.
From a certain point of view.
Certain point of view. He's
yeah.
not lying from a certain point of view.
Well, we're gonna get into all the takes. All the good ones, all the funny ones, all the. You know what I mean? So yeah, we could talk about that. And again, spoilers. Enter at your own risk, but I should put up on here what we're actually talking about. Okay, so hold on 1 second. Gonna write here. Talking. I only have one real important take that I wanted to talk about since we covered it kind of last week also because I just couldn't wait. But now that I have at least two people to talk about it with, Joff, did you watch it when it dropped?
Uh, Obi-Wan?
Yeah, did you watch it when it dropped?
Yeah.
Okay, so me and Waldo kind of had a conversation about this, but I wanted to hear just your initial reaction of did you skip the intro, or did you actually watch that entire four
No,
minutes?
I watched the entire.
Okay, so just from that portion alone, like what was your feeling when you saw that part of like they actually went back to the prequels and all that stuff? I wanted to hear your take, and of course, me and Waldo is going to share our take. So yeah, go
It's,
go ahead.
it's a fucking super expensive fucking previously on.
It's true. It's 3 movies cut down to 4 minutes.
Previously
Three
on. But it's
full
like,
ass Star Wars movies.
I mean, seeing that you didn't you probably have no idea that the fucking prequel kind of suck balls.
Yeah. Okay.
You know what I mean? Because they just
Yeah.
took the important parts, and then you know, I hate you. They didn't even put like I hate sand. They didn't
Okay.
The actual important stuff.
yeah, they didn't even put like Annie, fucking hold me. They didn't put all of that. They made it. I mean, you know, they didn't. They didn't do my boy any fucking favors. It's like it was fucking. But they they did what? Damn, they only fucking think about it. They 3 movies, fucking all the good parts, like fucking 4 minutes. The important parts,
That's a pretty good take. I like that. Okay.
but but they fleshed it out in Clone Wars and shit like that. But it's it's a way to get you caught up. It's if you're not a if you're not really a big Star Wars fan and you just want to see what fucking old Ben is all about, fucking lying ass, fucking just the fuck up and cut that meat, boy. And that meat look good though. The marbling, it looks kind of
Yeah, whatever that was, the crate dragon, maybe. I don't. I
yeah.
don't. I assume it's a crate
Damn,
dragon,
that's some wagyu type shit in there.
right?
It's
Wait,
like
before we get
some
any
tuna.
further.
What is
Wait,
this?
before we get any further though, like me and Ninja had an initial take of like when we saw the first 4 minutes of them showing the prequel or whatever, it made it made you like it almost tricked you even to thinking like, dude, these were fire ass movies. Like they didn't use any of the music from the old um from the old series. This was all like new scores set to familiar things, and it was presented in a different way of like, oh man, did I really miss something out, or am I tripping that I'm hating on this and all this stuff? But there is a new generation though that have came up to people like the guy that plays Darth Vader and is like, dude, we love those movies.
Yeah, this is their
It's
trilogy.
their shit, right? It's
Yeah,
their trilogy. So like, um, yeah, Ninja, right? Like, we talked about like, dude, did you watch that the first 4 minutes? You know what I mean? Was it
Yeah.
how did you receive it and all that stuff?
I mean, I was actually honestly impressed that they actually crammed 3 movies into 4 minutes, right? Like that's my main takeaway. I still remember watching those movies. I still wasn't. I'm still not really into the Clone Wars movies, but or the prequel movies. But I mean, if people like them, they like them, right? And I understand a lot of people grew up with those movies. Um, but yeah, I'm just not a fan. I just could not get into them. But hey, thanks for recapping everything, and just in case I forgot it, and going right into Obi-Wan. So
Okay,
yeah,
and then moving forward,
lose
because
anything.
Job says something about him cutting up the steak and all that stuff. Did you guys find that cool that he was like, he works at a butcher shop basically. He
Basically,
just
yeah.
he's just a everyday common man, right, Joff? Like cutting marbleized, I don't know, some kind of meat that looked pretty good. He never ate it though. He was giving it to his
Yeah.
what is that ninja? What does
Eope,
he ride?
Yeah, I don't remember what it was called.
Eope, or
Yeah,
I guess
something like that. Yeah, and I think it
yo,
was like a crate dragon or something like that they were cutting up.
my man Tika's roasting his ass. He stink. You stink. Ugh. The, my man Tika the Jawa fucking
Oh
stole
yeah.
his shit to sell it to him. You
Yeah,
guy's a
so back
hustler,
then,
dude.
yeah, yeah,
Man, you gotta be really stinky if fucking a Jawa tell you you stink. Dog.
it's true.
Hey, how did you guys feel when you guys saw Luke's toy his version of a GI Joe toy or a Star
The
Wars.
T16, the T16. I was like, holy shit, dude, it's T16. I was like, oh my god, that's awesome. Because yeah, as a kid watching the original Star Wars movie, and he's in his room, or he's messing around with that T16 model. I,
Do you do you think
oh,
Luke was a collector? Do you think he was a collector too? You think he was nerdy in some type of way?
Damn. Obi-Wan didn't even have the cash to fucking buy him a new one. Fucking got it, bro. Swap meet, dog.
yeah, it's a vintage, dude. It's collectible.
Yeah, yeah.
No, from
Well,
a fucking
dude, Owen didn't
Jawa,
even give
dog.
it to him. Owen said fuck that, and then didn't even give it to him. Give it back to Ben, dude. It's like stay away, and then just said screw this.
I bet you Luke was a collector of things, though. You know what I mean? Of like gadgets, of you
Gadgets,
know.
yeah,
So I
junk
bet you,
probably.
yeah. So I bet you, he probably would have had some figures or their version of comic books or stories from back in the day, right? Because he's
Yeah.
kind of a nerd, right? He goes, "Oh, you know, the
Part
Clone
of the
Wars,
rebellion.
yeah, the
No, he was
rebellion, and all that, yeah."
you know of the rebellion. No, it's more like stories, right? Stories of being heroes and shit like that. He probably grew up listening to those kinds of stories. Pretty sure Owen and Baru probably told him stories of like the Clone Wars and what happened during that whole time.
Probably try to sway him away from it, right? Like, oh,
Yeah, that the Jedi were bad people. Yeah.
yeah, you don't want to get yourself involved and stuff.
Hmm.
So, Joff,
Liars.
you had to
Bad.
take about liars about Obi-Wan being old, and that's what it shows here. Like this guy hasn't been Obi-Wan for what 10 years, and
10
all of a
years.
sudden
Yeah.
he just forgot. He has no force uh, powers going on. He has his. We are caught up, right? I believe, right?
Hey,
We're
that's
all
probably why Qui-Gon probably don't want to talk to his ass because he ain't shit. So that's why he won't show up. Fucking calling Qui-Gon, fucking master. Can you hear me? Whatever. It's like Qui-Gon, like, man, fuck out of here. I told you to train the boy, but you fucked it up. I ain't talking to you. So Qui-Gon ain't fucking talking to that motherfucker.
and also he lost his use of lightsaber skills, right? He got like that was the worst defeat. In a
Yeah.
lightsaber duel, right? That was one of the worst defeats ever. Like, oh
Hey,
dang, dude.
if Vader if Vader was Giannis, he was fucking Obi-Wan was mellow, dog. Fucking just fucking eating him fucking washed. Just just bully balling his ass. Just mellow can't do shit.
I mean, it makes sense, right? I mean, the guy's been living in a desert, totally shut
Yeah.
off from the Force, totally shut off from his skills, trying to hide from the Inquisitors. Just completely closing it down. And I mean, that
Yeah,
makes sense.
he's just been chopping meat, dog. That's
Yeah.
all he's been doing.
Just surviving.
Yeah.
He doesn't care anymore, right? Like he really doesn't care. I mean, the show starts off with him thinking that he's killed his best friend, right?
Yeah.
He doesn't know Anakin's still alive. So
I like that little
he's
reveal
been
too.
living with that for 10 years. Yeah, he's been living that 10 years that he's killed his friend. And now he's being chased by Jedi hunters. It's like, well, you can't reveal himself. I mean, look at what happened to that one Jedi that did reveal himself, right? In that first episode, the one that gets caught
Yeah.
up.
Yeah.
What happened to that guy?
Betty
Boom,
Safdie.
done. Yes.
One of the Safdie brothers, fucking Uncut Gem Jedi.
And I do like the fact that the Inquisitors are like, oh yeah, Jedi's are all about like saving people. Let's use that to our advantage and just taking people hostage. Like they don't give a fuck. They're like, yeah, we know that you're gonna want to save people. Fuck you guys.
And he
Save
can't
this
do that. He can't do that bullshit under the table. Like,
The knife thing.
yeah.
He had to be all overt about it.
What a fucking dummy. Hey, he deserved to die then.
Gotta be sneaky about that if you're trying to survive. Well, that's
Yeah,
why Obi-Wan's like, fuck it. it might be the fact that he's just not used to doing that, right? Not used to being sneaky. Right?
Probably.
Yeah, remember when he messes up and says Leia's name?
Yeah, well, neither one of them. Yeah, exactly. They've been so suppressed. They've been trying to suppress themselves that they're so out of practice with all their
Yeah.
shit.
That shit
So I
was
do
funny.
They forgot how to fight.
Leia
So I
was
do
all
understand we are watching a washed Obi-Wan at the
Oh,
moment.
super washed.
Yeah.
Yeah. No, it's Vince Carter in his final year in the NBA.
Finally here.
Yeah, when he was like 43. I mean, that's basically what we're watching right now.
it's fucking just. At least Vince fucking could still do shit. He's probably just like mellow, dog.
Do you think we'll ever see a win against I mean like the way Obi-Wan basically made Vader into what he is now, right?
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
With what he is. So that's that's of course something. But does Obi-Wan have to take straight losses now? All the way up until the timeline of
Probably.
is
I
he gonna
mean,
job out? Basically,
I mean,
is he gonna job out?
It depends on what your definition of winning is.
How
Right?
does
This is the whole point.
how does he get his comeback here?
I don't think he does.
I think
Because his final solution, we already know that him as an old man, as Alec Guinness,
Mhm.
he's that's his very last fight, and he loses that one too.
Yeah. No, his win is getting Luke and Leia out. Right. That's the win. The whole point is to get the next generation to fix what he fucked up. Just
so
like
you don't think
just like real life.
We'll see another.
Just like real life, all the boomers and all the Gen Xers and millennials are now like, oh, Gen Z, it's time for you guys to fix America. After we fucked it all up.
So do you guys think we'll see another lightsaber duel?
Yes,
between these two.
Yeah, because this last one I feel like wasn't that. It was a little underwhelming.
Yeah, he jobbed out. He was like, "Oh, dude, they called me for one more match, and I didn't do that well."
Man, I was so happy, fucking like it warmed my black heart because that was like
when he burned him.
Yeah, that's what I would have done.
Yeah.
I was like, I want to make this fool suffer,
and
he fucking dragged his ass to the flames.
Burned his beard, huh? Right. Probably burned his beard off and shit. Like,
and I think this showing this Obi-Wan as a broken person kind of can help to explain also Luke being a broken person in the future, right? Like, that's what everyone was like bitching about when Luke shows up in Last Jedi, right? How all of a sudden he went from this idealistic farm boy to this bitter old man, and you can kind of see why. I mean, look at what happened with I mean, obviously he's in the middle of a war, but Obi-Wan's a broken old man, and he doesn't want to do what Bale was trying to get him to do. These guys just have lost faith. They lost faith.
Hey, he failed his nephew, dog.
Yeah.
He should be broken.
No, and that's what I'm saying. I don't understand why people were bitching about that. So many people are like, how could Luke do that? And it's like, well, yeah, he fucked up.
Like, dude,
he fucked up and failed his family, dude. Of course,
he's
broken and
his
bitter.
sister and fucking Han entrusted their kid to you, and he fucked.
Yeah, and he fell.
Yeah, he fucked it up.
Yeah, I just don't understand that. I hope that because of Obi-Wan and showing how messed up his life is, it can it makes sense for Luke to be broken as well, or how they can be broken when they're, when they fail so hardcore that they have to like hide away from their problems, running away from their problems. It's just that these people don't really know what they're doing.
I was just thinking in my head right now, Luke's biggest win was A New Hope. He basically goes from being a fan of hearing these stories to all of a sudden main eventing and winning a medal at the end of it all, right? and then the next movies he's out here, jobbing out or whatever it is. What's up, Mac? How are you? He's like, oh, Elite X. What's up, man? We were talking again. Let's put it on here. Talking about the Obi-Wan series on Disney Plus, guys. So again, spoilers at all times. Enter at your own risk. Comment below. Ask questions. All that stuff. Mac is saying, much love to you, brother Ron. I appreciate you, Mac. I hope everything's well with you out there. You already know, bro. We out here doing our content on Kumu. We say, miss you, brother. I miss you too, dog. Yeah, man. Going back to Obi-Wan, this the show has gotten some bad stuff because maybe first of all they killed off a character, but then they started trying to throw some racist comments towards this person that's playing the new baddie besides Darth Vader and stuff. You guys would know more about the Inquisitors than I would. I just maybe my initial reaction when the ball headed one came out.
Yeah,
That dude.
Grand Inquisitor.
I don't know if he's dead because he's one of the main.
He was in the Clone Wars show, and I think he was
Rebels. Yeah, so
yeah, he was
Rebels,
the main.
right?
He was
Yeah.
one of the main bad guys in Rebels. So
Unless he's a different guy, could be
or a
different guy.
clone or whatever.
Maybe, yeah.
Man, so all I'm saying is like I understand why somebody would be upset if a character that they've invested their time in watching a show like they would kill off in some kind of weird way. And of course, Joff said that we don't know if they're dead yet.
Yeah,
Also,
fucking people like, dude, just let the story play out, dog.
but
Yeah,
also
that would not that wouldn't be something that they would have forgot about. I'm going to tell you that right now. There's no shot. The continuity people on Lucasfilm is notoriously like anal about a lot of stuff. Something as big as the Grand Inquisitor going out like that, and then showing up in Rebels. No, someone's gonna be back. Somehow he's gonna be back, or it's a clone or some shit like that.
Yeah.
Do you have Jason on there, Ron? But yeah, there's no shot that they're gonna forget about that. I mean, dude, these are the same people who basically like bitched at us when we basically wanted to put different colors of the holograms when we were doing like Star Wars games. When we first got to do Star Wars games back in the day, we wanted to do different color holograms, and they're like, no, you cannot do that. These are the same people who said that we couldn't have Han Solo carry a rifle, like a blaster rifle, because he never had one or some shit like that. A lot like we wanted him to have a certain kind of gun, but he never carried it in the movies. So they're like, no, you can't do that. And so there's a lot of little things like that they have, and something as big as the Grand Inquisitor dying out of continuity, they did not miss that. There's a reason for that. For what he did, for what Third Sister did.
Yeah, they're just probably like, getting him out of the way because maybe he's not really essential to the story.
Yeah, it's not about him, right? Yeah. He gets his story later.
Yeah.
But the main villain that's chasing, I believe she's a third sister, right? Third sister.
Leva.
Unfortunately, in real life, she got a whole bunch of hate and racist bullshit thrown her way, but she was warned beforehand by Disney that like, yo, they hated on previous Star Wars actors, and you might get that same type of hate. So if you need to talk to somebody and all that stuff, so they predicted correct, and she got a whole bunch of hate sent her way, but she's trying to be above that in a way by posting like, hey, I got hated on, but I'm trying to move past that also. You know what I'm saying? But for me, I love her as a credible bad villain. You know what I mean? So I
I
just
like it
wanted,
too.
yeah, I just wanted to hear real quick. What are your thoughts on having this as the face of the big bad? I'm pretty sure when it comes to Star Wars, there's always two or three people in the background. I mean, we have Darth Vader already like around. We know the Emperor's around. You know what I mean? And there's other things that could happen.
Tarkin's around. Yeah,
Yep.
Tarkin's around.
Right. So yeah. Do you like this new bad guy that we have, or you know, Jason, you're caught up, yeah, with Obi-Wan?
I have to watch the third episode because I was trying to watch it at work, but I kept getting interrupted, so I'm like off and on about it. So I have to
Okay,
watch
gotcha.
it fully, like in its entirety without any interruptions, and I should be caught up.
But you saw the first two episodes, yeah?
Yeah, yeah, sure.
So did you enjoy it, by the way?
I did,
Awesome. Okay.
especially the recap.
Yeah, yeah, right. What we're
I,
talking about.
it's weird how in awe of the recap we are. Like it's wild. I don't know why,
But
Blew my
but
before
I'm
you
mind.
got,
truly impressed by it.
It
but
blew my
before you
mind.
got on though, Jason. But before you got on, Joff had some pretty funny takes about we're seeing a washed ass Obi-Wan. You know what I mean? He jobbed out. Also, you know what I mean? Like it seems like he jobbed out with the lightsaber battle. Like he had no, he had no force going on. He had nothing like that going on. Although he did bust it out to save Leia, right, when she was falling, I believe, right. That's the only time it really kicked in. But he definitely got beat and he got burned and all that stuff, right? He got dragged through the fire as mannequin here said. You know what I mean? So like,
See, Vader don't fuck.
yeah, right. Hey, I also like this. Uh, I think I would like to think I know my stuff. They kind of gave us a different version of Vader, right, with his belt.
Yeah,
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 yeah.
there's extra stuff.
That's
The
brand new, right?
lights. Yeah. Huh? Yeah.
So we're seeing a younger. Well, I mean, he's not too young. I mean, he just fucked up. But I'm just saying, like, if he didn't get chopped down and be who he is, he would probably be, in his prime also, right?
Mhm.
So we're seeing a different suit on Vader, which is like, of course, a new way to sell toys, right?
Yeah.
Right?
Because
It's
yeah,
a
if you watch the original trilogy, the control panel there is different from episode 4 to episode 6 too. So uh, yeah, there are little differences
yeah,
between
but I
all
did
the
kind of
different.
like that though. I did kind of like that how they gave him maybe Joff maybe extra flair, I guess, on a suit that we already know just so
yeah. You
basic
gotta
and
like,
black.
can't have. If you can make it a little better without drastically changing it, why wouldn't you?
Hmm.
Mm.
So I actually like and enjoy where the series is going. It feels like a Star Wars moment. I don't know if you guys have those same type of feelings. Of course, what we talked about earlier about that 4 minute intro.
Mhm.
Jason, I said that I think what made it so good also was they didn't use any of the old music from back then. It was just old footage that we know and we know those stories. Yet it was set to a different tone with the music they used, the way it was edited.
Mhm.
They damn near made they almost made you believe that the prequels were actually fucking an awesome, great thing. In that 4 minute recap. You know what I mean? But the way that we lived it, of us having to be in line, watching it for the first time, loving it for the first time, and then all of a sudden having a hate for it as those movies went on. So by the time the third one went on, I think a lot of people were like, man, they're probably checked out already. And especially with all those funny lines about sand that, Joff would have wanted in the 4 minute recap, right? Joff said they missed out on all the best parts of but I think the parts that they chose, of course, were for dramatic purposes Like, you know how when you see a wrestling promo and you're like, oh, that's an awesome video package, or when you see like you're going to a Warriors game and the video package that they play right before gets you hyped. You know what I
Yeah, I
mean?
mean it's get. I mean, it is getting you all the good, the actual plot beats that you need to know, right? And
Hmm.
showing you key moments. So obviously, yeah, it's gonna be very. It's gonna be pretty important stuff, you know. So uh, it's. I mean, that's kind of the point, I guess. Like all the cool stuff that happened is stuff that they're gonna have to. They have to show it, you know, just because you need to know what happened beforehand. So it makes sense.
What do you call it? I don't know if we'll get a second season. You know, I don't know if this is just a limited series where
Yeah,
they'll just do 6 episodes.
I think it's just the 6 episodes, but they always fucking keep their shit close to the vest, and then they'll surprise somebody like, oh, next year's whatever Star Wars celebration. They'll announce something that they're working on, you know, something Obi-Wan, another series, or Vader series. I don't know.
I mean, they do have comic books that they can either adapt because they do have those Darth. There is like a Darth Vader comic
Yeah,
right now that's going on right now that showcases him. So there's definitely a lot of stories that they can talk about that goes on in between the movies, you know. So who knows? Who knows where they're going to do it, what they're going to do. Star Wars Celebration had a lot of stuff come that was announced that seems really interesting. Um, so we'll see, but who knows about having a second season? I might want to watch more of Leia and seeing what she's doing because that girl is like she don't give she just roasts people like all the time, dude. That girl is like savage, man. Like I have to imagine she's using the Force to like kind of get a feel for people and then just laying into them, you know? Because
Mm.
maybe.
how is it
Yeah,
that she's so insightful, you know?
yeah, maybe
Mm.
that's her force sensitivity. She could read people.
I mean, that's what it seems like. Cause yeah, like every single interaction she has with people, like her cousin when she's like, when she's talking to her
But she
cousin, and
she dressed him down, read him real
it
good.
was
You know what I
yeah.
mean?
I
Like,
was just like, dude, you're like a 9-year-old, 10-year-old little girl, and you're just like, you're just wrecking him. It was just so ridiculous. And again, a lot of people didn't like this Leia. Apparently, a lot of people are like, how is she so like smart? Like, you know, no 10-year-olds is this smart, but you know, this is also Princess Leia. She grows up to be ridiculously awesome. She's also force sensitive. You know, I don't understand how I just don't understand like why some people are like hating on it. You know, it's like, dude, she has
is it
magical
because it's a
powers.
little kid? Is it because it's a little
No,
kid?
that's part of it because a lot of because what kid at 10 years old talks like her, right? What kid at 10 years old has the
She's not like her
wherewithal
brother,
to
like pretending he's
right?
piloting like on top of the
Well,
house. Joff,
yeah,
he went to go skip out on some chores real quick to go drive his
yeah,
house real quick. You know
right.
what I mean?
Right, so she doesn't act like a normal 10-year-old. Doesn't look like I mean, she tries to, right? She tries to run away and just have fun by herself, you know, in the woods and stuff like that. But
Go
when she
calling out
has to like,
chips, huh?
but when she has to like walk, you know, but when she has to like hang out with like the adults and be responsible and stuff like that, she can actually
I
do it,
mean,
you know?
it tracks. It's kind of believable because I remember when when my son's still doing like the in person learn like this the distance learning. They're all Zoom, right? And then somebody, I think they're just having discussions where they ask what they're watching, what they're watching, what their favorite shows were, and they asked me. The girls answer like insightful stuff. Like, oh, I like Supergirl because it sets an example that girls could be heroes too. Blah blah
Hmm.
blah. And the boys was like, I like trucks. I like trucks. It's like that's like, oh shit.
Yeah. No, I get that.
But that's
it
pretty
tracks.
accurate.
I
That's
that's
get
pretty
that.
accurate.
I mean,
Yeah.
that part is accurate, but
That's
the
funny.
fact that
That's
Leia is again dressing people down, that part is a little obviously it's a little unbelievable. But again, you have to remember, like her mom was very young and she was Queen of Naboo, and then when Princess Leia starts becoming a part of the Senate, I think in the books at least, she was like 15 or 16 years old, so very young age. She was already a part of the Senate and all that kind of stuff. So she's supposed to be really smart and she's supposed to
Yeah.
be really, really good at what she does.
It's
And
all about
starting at 10,
I mean, it's all about the upbringing. I mean,
Right.
like what Ron said. Look at Luke. He was piloting.
Yeah. But
Dude,
yeah, but
he is over
he-
here like being a smart ass
Yeah.
and
But
Yeah.
she's
stuff.
like,
This
she's
dude's
of
skipping
course
out on
she's
shores, jumping on the
yeah,
house.
but I mean, but yeah, think about it. He grew up around two moisture farmers, right?
Yeah.
Like he doesn't have the exposure of like what a princess of Alderaan has,
She
he
has
has none of that. She has every opportunity to be
Yeah.
who she is.
She has every resource to learn what
Yeah.
she has to learn to be
Yeah.
a political figure when she grows up. So that's why she's
Yeah. And think about it. In 6 years, she's going to be a part of the Senate, right?
Yeah.
5 or 6 years, she'll be a part of the Senate. She has to be brilliant.
it's a given. It's like,
yeah, I don't understand why people are bitching about that.
I mean, if they want to be correct about it, she's an heir to the throne of Naboo. If they want to be like that too. So I mean,
That's true. Yeah. If they ever want to go that route,
it's
sure.
like if you're gonna complain about a 10-year-old being like snappy and smart mouth, then you gotta look at where those two grew up differently. So I mean, it's in the environment they grew up in.
Money, 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 money.
Yep. Real life.
Yeah. But I think it'd be kind of interesting if they ever like made a young Leia TV show. I hope I would hope it would be better than like the Endor movies.
It'd be a bunch of other like simps trying to holler at her. You know what I mean?
Oh,
That's
dude,
what
like
the-
dude,
that's
if
what
it would
the
be
show
yeah,
is gonna
if it's
be
like
about.
if it's gonna be like a CW show,
Dude,
it's gonna be like her in her teenage years, and then she's gonna be, and then she
Gossip
doesn't.
Girl.
All these people are gonna try and like ask her out, and then she wants to go out with the bad boy.
It's gonna
and
be
that's why she
Dawson's
started-
Creek, but Star
Yeah.
Wars. It's gonna be
It's gonna-
Gossip Girl. It's gonna be all that stuff.
Yeah.
You know what I mean, Jason, right?
And
It's gonna be
her first boyfriend's gonna be
energy.
like Dash Rendar or some shit like that.
yeah, and we'll be like, oh shit, remember him? He's from the
Yeah.
He has a
Someone
finger
that's
too,
gonna be-
Dolph.
someone that's gonna be like Han Solo, but not Han Solo. It's gonna be a very similar type person.
Yes.
And that's why when she grows up, it's like, oh, that's why she's into Han Solo, because her first love was like a smuggler type or some shit.
Dash Hey, you know what? That's actually that's something Disney would do though, Ninja. They would take somebody like Dash
Like a Dash
Rendar
Rendar, yeah.
and like, oh, let's put him on the CW show. It'll be Dawson's Creek. It'll be, her own little love triangle with like, a smuggler and somebody that's from the from the Senate or something like that. Like a young
like some kind of noble of some type, yeah. Like a noble on the Senate from Corellia or
so it'll
some
be
shit.
a young adult political drama
Yeah.
in a way, right?
Yeah, it'll be like West Wing, but the CW version of it.
And and this is what fans on here like to call like edging, right? Like they'll almost want her to do some like show any kind of intimacy online with like another boy and stuff, and then they'll cut it off because she has to go this way and be political.
Oh no!
You know what I
It's
mean?
she's gonna fall in love with another girl, and then people are gonna be like, "What is this woke garbage?"
Yeah,
That's what it's gonna be. That's what it's gonna be. I'm gonna
and be
love,
so
and I'm gonna
aghast
love
by
it.
it, right?
Yeah, like how can she fall in love with another girl? What? Exploring herself? What is this? And it's gonna be an alien too. That's what's gonna happen, and it's just gonna piss
Dude, that'd
off
be
all the
awesome.
conservatives. It's gonna piss everybody off. It's gonna be
A
it would be
Twi'lek,
awesome.
huh?
Yeah, I'm
Yeah.
already loving the show. I love it already.
But it's Dash Rendar also, like edging,
Yeah,
right?
it'll be a love triangle. It'll be a love triangle. She won't know who to she wouldn't know who to pick.
Or Joff will be a whole bunch like new simp of the week, like flavor of the week. You know what I mean? Like they'll bring in some new guy.
Uh,
Every
I
two
would
episodes will come
that
in.
would feel kind of boring. I feel like
You feel me? All these, she'll
I
she'll
personally
have
would
out
be
all
kind of
these
bored of that.
suitors, right?
Gonna have a fucking young Lando cameo.
No, but
No,
I'd
that
rather
wouldn't work
see
though. That
I'd
wouldn't
rather
work
see
though.
a teenage Luke. Like I bet you teenage Luke. He was hitting the spice, right? He might
Hitting
have
the
been hit.
spice, going through Beggars Canyon,
Yeah, he was like,
bullseyeing Womp Rats in
dude.
C-16.
I think
Yeah,
I'd rather watch that show too. You know what I
him
mean?
and Biggs going to Anchorhead. Being degenerates like those dudes in the Boba Fett show, like those swoop riders in
Those
the
mod,
Boba Fett
those
show.
mod kids.
Yeah, the mod kids. Yeah,
It kind of be like that '70s show, but it's Star Wars or almost like it would be. You
him
know
and
what I mean,
Biggs. Yeah,
guys?
it'd be
Like,
him and Biggs. Him and Biggs doing the shit like that. Yeah.
yeah, dude. Like, almost a Jay Silent Bob thing going on where he's
Mhm.
like, dude, come on, like, you
Yeah,
know, making fun of
I like it.
droids or you know what I mean?
Yeah.
I don't know.
Biggs the whole time will be like trying to keep up with Luke, and he'll be like, "Dude, you're high on spice right now. How are you hitting these? How are you bullseyeing these Womp Rats?"
Dude,
And then that's when
what
you
I want.
realize he's tapping into the Force, but he doesn't know that he's doing it.
Mm.
But because Biggs has to try and like keep up with Luke the whole time, that's why he's such a good pilot when he grows up. That'd be pretty interesting. I like it.
Yeah, I'd rather. Well, I don't know. I would like to see both shows if they did like a Gossip Girl type fucking Leia, or mixed in with the little politics, right? And
Yeah.
with Luke, him getting into little adventures,
Hmm.
but
Yeah.
also to have that spirit of, dude. That's what I liked about. They only showed Luke just for a little bit, right? Because they also made you believe like, oh, he doesn't matter right now.
Hmm.
Let's focus here.
It's not his time yet. Yeah, it's not his story yet.
It's not his story yet. So like, the little part that they showed, that's what I like. And I am a parent too, so of course it hits a little bit different to see a kid all of a sudden, yeah, I'll be back. Hold on. You know what I mean? And then he'll go climb up on the roof and
Yeah.
pretend he's a pilot. And I
Mhm.
just thought that, okay, this dude is a kid. He's goofing off though,
Yeah.
because he should be doing some chores, but he's out
Mhm.
here goofing off because he has something in him, right? That's basically showing you he has something in him that he's either destined for or he has in him that has to come out, you
Yeah.
know.
The
Of
beginnings of his potential and what he's destined to do. Yeah. Mhm.
Yeah, so that part I really liked. And the contrast to that also is Leia going through her own story with Obi-Wan, but also what Joff said earlier. You're watching a liar, a washed up dude. you know um,
Hey, fucking Leia asked Obi-Wan if you my real dad.
Yo, that part was like, oh my god. That part was like, oh.
Damn. Bro. And he was all, I wish I was. That's why I fucking dirty Mac, you motherfucker. I can't.
I mean, part of me, yeah, that is kind of fucked up that he said that, but at the same time, yes, knowing the alternative is Darth Vader, it's like, yeah, it's understandable that he would say that, right? Obviously, the implication is, oh yeah, I wish I had I had hit that right with Padme. I mean, that is one way of looking at it. Again, from
remember
a
how
certain
that
point of
was at
view.
one point rumored to like actually be a thing in the prequels about Obi-Wan being love interest also of Padme's, creating that triangle of, you know. So they kind of hinted with it with what we did see when he was like, you and Obi Wan are against me, and all that stuff. Like,
Yeah.
when he joked around. You remember that, Job? That's your favorite part, right? Those are your favorite parts, where he gave the infamous, well, I like to call it the George Bush speech. When we were going to war during the 9/11 era and all that stuff, he was you're either with us or against us. He had that whole thing. So sometimes Lucas does reference wars, of course, whether it was a Vietnam War or certain things. So I always felt like, hey, he's on the George Bush side of things, and we would always see narratives online and videos of like, hey, the empire is really how the government is. It's it's almost like an allegory, right? Is that the right
Mhm.
word I'm looking for? Right? Of how things are now. So yeah, I don't know if they'll do a second season. I don't know if they'll do stuff like that, but I think they have so many stories that they can tell. And maybe if they were just to
Yeah.
drag this out, I wouldn't mind if for one season, Joff, he's jobbing out. And by the
Yeah.
last episode, that's when you kind of see him. All right, I'm finally I've been rusty. Because I don't expect him by the next episode all of a sudden be kicking ass already. You know
Well,
what I
no, he's
mean?
injured, right? Next episode, he's going to be injured with his fight with Darth Vader.
So,
He's going to be sad and depressed again, and then we know Leia is not going to be with him. So
and I'm also thinking now too, right? It also remember Jason now he's trying to contact Qui Gon, right? He's like, "Where are you?" How he's.
I
So it's
thought
like,
I thought he legit learned how to do it, and I was like, oh shit, he better not show up. But then I was like, oh, this guy, he wasn't even practicing how to do it.
no, but
well,
it made me think though, guys. Jason, that
Yeah.
dang for 10 years, Yoda didn't even hit you back up to teach you how to do it because he told him. Yoda
no, I
told him
think he
like,
did. I think he did tell him how to do it, and
"Hey, Lawrence."
I think at first he was popping around. I assume he was popping around, but after 10 years, like at least in the books, uh, after a few years, they start to come around less. Like it's harder for them to come back. At least in the expanded universe, I don't remember how long it takes, but I remember Luke was talking about how at a certain point Obi-Wan stopped coming around. Um, so I don't know how long it takes, at least for that. Obviously, Yoda does show up in the sequel trilogies. So I mean, it could be the fact that he's more powerful than Obi-Wan and Qui-Gon, that he can come back. His expiration date is set further, maybe. But I mean, it would be kind of shitty to introduce the fact that he can talk to Qui-Gon and it never happens, right? Like there's no payoff for that. But at least in the expanded universe, there is an expiration date for how long these Force Ghosts can come back. So I don't know.
You know how they brought back Luke in Mandalorian,
Yeah,
and we all had that oh shit moment. I know people right now aren't really feeling the recent behavior of the last couple of years of, say, Liam Neeson, whether it's his movies or the thing that he publicly said. Right? He said some crazy shit. Remember? He said some crazy. He really said some
He's being
crazy stuff
yeah.
honest
out there.
though. He was being honest.
He was being honest, but also in the context of things, he knew he was
Well,
wrong to where he
he
had
was,
to
yeah,
apologize
he
for it.
apologized for it.
Yeah,
Yeah,
he
he
apologized.
didn't. He didn't have to say it though. That's the thing, right? Like
Yeah, he did.
nobody
That's the
has to.
thing.
He didn't need to bring that up, right? That's something that he didn't have to bring up. He brought that up himself, and
Here,
it's like,
here's
why?
and here's my thing about that. Are we gonna see? Do you think we'll finally see Liam Neeson return as Qui Gon in some type of form, or you think it's gonna be a CG like how they did fucking Luke?
I don't think he's as canceled as like a Gina Carano.
Yeah,
right? Like
no.
he doesn't have like a sustained record of being a bad person. Whereas Gina Carano tweeted something here, said something here, tweeted something here, posted another thing there. Like she had like a sustained history of having really bad takes, right?
Yeah,
Whereas
she
Liam
wasn't.
Neeson,
Yeah, she didn't stop. She just kept going.
yeah, and then she doubled down. Yeah,
Yeah, she doubled down.
when people started calling her out and stuff like that, it's like, oh wait, you posted this thing that's very racist and anti-Semitic. Why did you do that? And then she's like, I'm just saying. She basically just said, fuck it. This is what I'm gonna go with. And it's like, well.
Like you idiot, right?
Why would you fumble the bag like that? What is that?
Oh my god, dude.
Whereas Liam Neeson, yeah, he had the one thing he didn't have to say it, but he said it, and he has apologized for it. He said that it was when he was young, and this is how he felt at that time, and now he's ashamed of that. Unless there's like 5 more things that he's hiding, I don't think he's not canceled. Not in that way.
What I'm about to say does relate in a way to what we're talking about right now. But Danielle Rawlings, right? All of a sudden it shows up. You know how you go on YouTube and it gives you a certain feed, or suggested. It was Danielle Rawlings, who you guys know as Ashley Larry, right? And he had a skit, or he had like 5 or 7 minutes of this clip where it says like, "I still listen to R. Kelly," right? And he starts the entire first like 30 seconds by like blasting his music on the PA, singing along to it and doing, mimicking the R. Kelly, stuff. And he's saying, of course, he's a man of, he goes there. You know what I mean? He says funny stuff, but he goes there. So, like, I get what you mean by some people are not all canceled, but we could at least make fun of it or whatever.
Mm-hmm.
Like, I remember, I always bring up this reference because I think it's one of my favorite bits ever. But when Inside the NBA, when they started talking about Jussie Smollett, that was like hilarious, right? That kind of went viral for like, I think what it was before the season begins, they post predictions of what's going to happen throughout the season. So he's all, what do you think is on there, Ernie, that you would have never thought you saw before? That was Kenny's question. And then Charles said, under his breath, but the mic picked it up, is he said, 2 black guys wearing MAGA hats. You know what I mean? With Subway sandwiches and rope and bleach. And, he's going in. But also, he recognized to throw in Jussie Smollett should have been in Liam Neeson's neighborhood. You know what I mean? Instead, if he was like trying to look for some, like these guys are just so quick with it, right? So, I think for them to bring out all those old guys, like in things like Mandalorian, how they brought back Luke, they brought back characters that we know, like Luke and Leia and all that stuff. You think we'll see Qui-Gon? Do you think we'll see a Yoda? Everyone loved the baby Yoda so much, right? Or Grogu, because at first we didn't know it was his own thing, its own name, right? So like, do you think we'll see some of those key characters again, along with I know people like Rosario Dawson has her show, right? That's
Yeah, Ahsoka is gonna have.
That just got done. I think it's done filming. I don't know, but there's just so much that they can do. Do you think we'll see any of those old characters? I mean, a Darth Maul, right? I know Darth Maul has one last hurrah with Obi-Wan,
he shows up later. Yeah. Oh, that's where Obi-Wan wins. Like that's one of his last wins, is that him and Darth Maul finally go at it for the final time, basically. But then But that's at a point where he knows how to fight again. So maybe this is going to show him basically how Obi-Wan gets his groove back, right? I mean, this is basically what's going to happen. He's going to have to basically relearn how to be Obi-Wan again, so that when he fights Darth Maul for the last time in Rebels or whatever, or Clone Wars or whatever.
I'd love to see Obi-Wan and Darth Maul, or maybe even a Darth Maul spinoff. Out of everyone, to kind of like Boba Fett has had his redemption, right, with being on the Mandalorian, and then doing that. I don't see why. I mean, that does take some balls to. Hey, Ray Park, if we're gonna be completely 100% real, hey Ray Park, we're gonna ask you to headline this series. You think you got it in you? You know what I'm saying?
It would be a pretty dark show because he ends as a bad guy, right? Like his final showdown with Obi-Wan, he's a bad guy still. So he would be kind of, he'd be the head of some kind of crime organization, Crimson Dawn or
Yeah.
Black Sun or whatever the fuck it's called. And yeah, he's gonna be a bad guy the entire time, like actual bad guy. No redeeming qualities, bad guy. And it's gonna be a show about that. I don't know if D Plus is gonna be. I don't know if D Plus is ready for something like that for Star Wars.
Correct, but it's something that would be like if they were to do a season 2, like, hey, let's show him being hunted, or him being looked for by a Darth Maul or something. I don't know if we'll get that. You probably won't. But I'm just saying, if you're able to bring back people that we thought we'd never see again, you know what I mean? The character was so loved, and they wanted him back to where like they had to put him in the expanded universe type stuff, right? They had to, right? Didn't at one point he had spider legs? He looked crazy, right?
Yeah.
Like he went through
I think in
his own
Solo
modifications.
too. In Solo they show that too. I think because he shows up in the end of Solo.
Yeah, but he had 2 legs.
He had. Oh, did he have 2 legs? I remember he had like robot legs. I couldn't remember.
Yeah,
if
it was robot. It was robot legs, but it was just 2 legs.
Okay, I didn't remember if it was the spider legs or not.
He's sitting
I'm
on.
just
maybe-
saying, I would
or maybe-
love to see.
Maybe they split off and become spider legs. Like that's it's a secret that he's hiding. Yeah, I mean that'd be kind of interesting, but again, like I said, that would be kind of a darker show, right? Like we're talking an examination of the criminal underworld of Star Wars. I don't know if that would be very impactful if they don't go pretty dark, like pushing the envelope dark, right?
I mean, they'll take risks by doing shows like Bad Batch, right? Of like telling certain stories from an aspect of, hey, you're going to see a lot of action here. You know what I mean? It'll be gritty. Disney, I think, has also taken its chance with doing things like even though it's non-Star Wars related, but I'm saying like things like Doctor Strange, where they'll take a hi Sherman, how are you? Hey Jane, also, ¿cómo está, guys? How are you? They'll take certain risks like that with putting something that you may not think is Disney like, but all of a sudden they'll surprise you. I mean, shit, they fucking okayed the whole Punisher being on Disney, and I know a lot of people weren't okay with that. You know what I mean? Like people are like, why does it have this on here? But for them to like, hey, it's part of the lineage.
Yeah, but I feel like Marvel, it makes sense for Marvel because they can get away with it. I feel like getting a little bit darker, and Marvel has always had that darker side, right? Whereas Star Wars has always been geared towards kids.
But it's always played in those darker tones of Empire is one of the greatest movies ever, right? But it ends on
and it's dark, and it is dark, but it's not necessarily traumatizingly dark, Like it makes sense in the context of the story, but it doesn't go like it doesn't go to the depths of like human like suffering or anything like that.
I went back and watched the new movies again for I don't know how many times, and I'm just skipping through certain things, but just rewatching certain parts and stuff like that. I think I've talked about how I really like The Force Awakens because it just seemed like a fun movie, right? And the
Mhm.
other two just kind of went haywire. But then just kind of rewatching those and seeing the themes, I understand why some people were happy with them or whatever. But no matter what, yeah, we're trying to sell action figures here and all this stuff, right? Have it be for kids. But at the same time, like there were some very fucking dark moments in there that like you didn't think you would see. Like to see fucking Luke hover.
Sure.
Remember when Luke was hovering over what's his name, Kylo?
Ben.
Yeah,
Yeah.
you know what I mean.
Yeah.
Like to have that crazed look, or to like the way what's his name died, the chancellor at the time, the supreme chancellor.
Snoke.
What's his name? Yeah, Snoke, where he just gets cut in
Where it
half,
gets cut in half. Yeah. Mhm.
right? Certain things
Yeah.
like that, right? The hands, of course, that always plays
Sure.
a great
No,
deal.
that's more gory than dark, right? Like dark, I mainly associate with like what Darth Vader is doing to Obi-Wan. Like
Mm.
really trying to get him to either suffer or fall or something like that. Whereas, yeah, you're just getting cut in half. Okay, cool. Luke Skywalker gets his hand cut off. It's gory, but I don't really see that as dark. Like I'm
I'm
talking
just saying
like
they'll go there with certain beats and
for
certain,
certain things, for certain things,
content.
sure. But for like but again, for an underworld drama, I feel like it needs to be. It's going to be pretty dark. I think. Like, why would I want to watch someone who's just we're trying to sell drugs the entire time? That's it, And it's like, oh, okay, I guess that's the extent of his organization. But we're also going to be but if you're talking about what's in the actual like Star Wars universe, you have slavery, right? You have human trafficking. Like, what do you think those Twi'leks were doing? That Twi'lek was doing in fucking Jabba's palace. It doesn't actually show
Sexual
that,
work, yes, sexual
but
favors, Joff.
but what I'm saying is,
For some
if
Republic
you're
credits.
but if you're showing that side with Darth Maul doing stuff like that, you're probably gonna get a little bit more. You're gonna get that a little bit more in your face. You know what I'm saying? And that kind of darkness is what I'm saying. I don't think Star Wars is ready to portray.
They should though. Like, just imagine you go into Darth
Human
Maul's palace.
trafficking, child human child
Well, not necessarily
trafficking and
that.
shit like that.
No, not necessarily that. But like, let's say they show Darth Maul's palace, or the club he's hanging out, or he runs, or something like that.
Mm-hmm.
Then all of a sudden you see some like Twi'leks like giving lap dances, to some
Sure.
customer, or doing as uh, sexual favors, insinuated, along with spice use and all
Mm-hmm.
that stuff, right? Because they kind of show a little bit of it. I'm just saying, if they
Yeah.
showed
But,
excess of
but
that,
that's what I'm saying.
that'd be kind
But
of
that's what I'm
badass.
saying. That's 6 episodes, 8 episodes of that, and that's I don't think
That's what
Disney
Boba
is
Fett
ready for
should have
that.
shown. If Boba Fett
Yes,
was
yes,
right,
and that's what I'm saying. I don't think they went far enough. I feel like, yeah,
yeah, they should have shown like him going in and like you know how they always portray like that one trope of like just naked women running around, right? It's all like a naked Wookiee, but she's a female Wookiee, like she's all like, and she's all covering her hairy chest, you know what I mean, and covering her might be a bald patch. That's the only part where she's bald in, right, Joff? You know what I mean? Like, you know, you never know. You never know. I'm just saying, right? She probably just pulls a hair back or something like that, right? But I'm just saying they should have went there with Boba Fett of showing the whole
right. Well, yeah,
gritty
I feel like,
aspect, crime
yeah, it should have
aspect
been
of
gritty. Yeah, it should have been gritty. It should be more crime and underworld and criminal underworld. And I feel like because they didn't go quite that far, it's a sanitized version of their criminal underworld. I don't think a Darth Maul show would work if it's going to be kind of like that, you know,
Like I would have
because
loved to have seen like one of the huts with just like hella spice laid out in front of them, spice all over their lips, their nose and they're
Yeah.
like ooh da
Yeah.
goo da, right? And they're all like
Well,
they're all
exactly.
like trying to lick
No. I
the
mean,
spice off their lips and shit.
it sounds silly, but no, that's basically what I'm saying. Is that Boba Fett should have been more gritty in that way, showing the slightly darker side, because he's kind of in that weird middle ground, right? Good guy, but he lives in this darkness all the time, and he's trying to get out of it. Whereas a Darth Maul show would be living in the darkness the entire time,
Mm,
And what does that look like?
mm,
You get what I'm saying? And I don't think Disney will ever go that far. And if they don't go that far, then I don't think the impact will be there for a Darth Maul show. Like I think it would be kind of weird. It would be too sanitized, I think, and not interesting if it doesn't go that far, right? Like it doesn't have to be gratuitous, but it does have to show you that he is a bad person, And that's why I said like the slave trafficking type stuff, not just drugs, but slave trafficking, weapons trafficking, assassinations, murders. We're talking like a lot of that kind of stuff, and we're talking like plans, like different plans and all that kind of stuff. Ruthless.
I believe they are trying to get away from the whole Skywalker saga, correct? They're trying to, so
I
they want
think
to show
I think
more
they're trying to
diverse
branch out.
stories,
Yeah,
right?
yeah,
Yeah,
because it
so
is a galaxy. Yeah,
yeah, I'd like to see more of the crime aspect of like, if you could make me fall in love with the series like Mandalorian, you know what I mean? And also, even though I liked Boba Fett, it wasn't well executed like how it should have been. Those are the stories I do like. We here, I think we liked Solo, but in public, I think a lot of people did. The public actually, for some reason was not
yeah.
okay with
I
that.
think I think sentiment is starting to flip a little bit on that show, on that movie. I I
Right.
I do think a lot of people are starting to turn that around and start to realize that movie is actually pretty good. Like I think a lot of people just couldn't get over the fact that it's not Harrison Ford, you know.
Yeah,
Whereas for me, I was like, I don't give a shit. It's close enough. I understand that it's not going to be him. Fuck it, whatever.
it's
I
more
thought it
the
was a great
issue of
movie
they
too.
changed directors in the middle of
That's
production.
the other part
Mm.
too. Yeah, that was the other part that they did change over to Ron Howard later on. So we'll never get the Miller and Lord, the Lord and Miller cut.
Yeah,
I
Mm.
kind of wish we could like petition Disney like people did for the Snyder cut. I kind of want to get the Lord and Miller cut.
so
They do reshoots and shit. Huh.
I would love to see what their take would be. What is it going to be like 21 Jump Street but Han Solo? Is it going to be Lego the Lego movie but Han Solo?
I would love
Like
that.
I'm like I said, yeah, I'm curious. I kind of want to see where they would have taken it because it was a creative difference. That's why they left the movie.
All right, well, guys, I was gonna say we're past the hour, getting into our second hour. This is a Hub 408 episode 148, right? Are we on
Yep,
episode
yep.
148? Thank you guys for joining us. You're in the house with me, Ron Star, Ninja Iceberg, Vatican, aka Jopsimus, and you just made the list, aka Jay Jericho. We're gonna move along to current business here. I just want to hear your guys' take. We'll spend maybe about 10 minutes on this take here. Let me put it out here. Okay. Why won't it let me write this down? Oh, here we go. Right there, guys. That is a topic at discussion right now. Warriors losing game one of the NBA Finals. What's up, Brett? How are you, RH Factor? Shout out to you, brother. Um, if you guys don't know, of course we are Warriors fans here. And with the Warriors losing game one, at one point, what was the biggest lead that they had in that game? I know it was in the double digits.
It was in the double digits, right? It was like
It's like
11,
15.
12 points, 50, yeah, something like that.
15,
It
something
was
like
pretty
that.
high. Yeah, yeah.
But in a must-win situation, must-win game situation, the Warriors pretty much did not see a surge coming, and that surge hit in the fourth quarter, I believe, when the Celtics, you know, they hit all cylinders. You know what I mean? So
Dude, they couldn't miss. Dude, fucking Horford couldn't. Fucking Kobe White. Fucking. What are you. Dude, there's. Everything they threw up went in. Like, what are you gonna do? You know, just. Shit happens like that. So.
Yeah, I mean that's basically it, right? That's why they have to play a best of 7. You know, things happen. Who knows what's going to happen next? Steve Kerr did say that he thought Boston had the advantage going into this game because they played 7 games, intense, hard fought,
Yeah.
and and that kind of carried over to this series. Whereas the Warriors
the
finished up in
momentum.
5 games, yeah, the momentum, and then they rested for like an extra couple days, you know. Whereas Boston didn't have that. So yeah, in theory they should have been tired, but they also had the momentum going
Yeah, they're
in.
sharper.
So right, they didn't. Yeah, they just
I
came
mean,
off of a must-win situation. So who knows
but they
what's going
almost
to
had
happen?
a week off anyway too. It's not like the Celtics played after Game 7. They played fucking 2 days later. They had fucking 4 days, whatever,
Hmm.
whatever it is. So hey,
Uh, them losing home court advantage, though. Do you think this plays a huge factor, or does a team gotta strap down? Jason, what are your thoughts, and we'll move it down the line.
The rest, it's only one game. It's not like they've won in Boston before. It's no, you of course you're not gonna have when the other team makes 21 3-pointers, you're not gonna win that game. That's a given. Unless you're matching that unless you're matching that input. But no, most of the time if a team is making 21 threes in one game, you're not gonna win. And they're shooting efficiently, which is pretty weird. But other than that, I mean, when you only play 3 quarters and then not play the fourth quarter, that's what
Yeah,
happens.
that's the thing about Boston too is that when they hit, they can hit, right? But when they can't, they can't. That's the knock on Boston is that their consistency is not
It's not great.
it's not great, right? So from game to game, they can hit like they did in game 1, but in game 2 they can in theory just go cold, right? Like that's a thing that can happen to them. So I'm I'm personally not I'm not panicking at this
No,
moment. It is only
sure.
one game,
What up, Seth?
You only
so
panic when you lose both the first 2 games. That's when you panic. But
yeah.
other than that, I mean, it's not
Well,
like it's not going to happen again. They just got hot. It's like you can't help that. It's like when
it would
you're
be
when the
difficult to replicate,
yeah.
sure.
But like case in point, like for example, the Memphis and Golden State series, right? And
Fire ass
I
series.
I, I am a I mean, as much as I love Ja, I have I have more love for the game of Jaren Jackson Jr. But
Mm.
towards the end of the series, he flamed out. He disappeared. Like he was having a great series at the beginning, but he kind of disappeared into I don't know what happened. They made adjustments, or he was just not getting the shots he wants, or he's just missing open shots. I don't know what was going on with them. That could have been mentally. So we just don't know. That's the thing. But he pretty much kind of disappeared. Like all his scoring, and it came up on Dylan Brooks and um, the other dude. I always forget his name. But like I said, it's like if when you get hot, you get hot. And anytime you play a team that makes 21 threes in the entire game, you're not pretty much 95% of the time you're not going to. That's a given. You're just playing. You're just
Yeah,
playing into
dude,
their hands.
fucking Horford and fucking Derek White had career highs.
Yeah. That
It's
can't be
like
helped.
hey,
It is what
what
it
are you
is.
gonna
It's only
do?
one game. I mean, it's like and what's funny to me is like Warrior fans I had just become fans like during the Steph Curry era. It's funny to me that they panic a lot. Like, oh shit, they lost game one. This and that. I'm like, like, where were you when we were only winning like 17 games a season? That's why it's like, for me as a fan, I mean, yes, you became a fan. That's great. I mean, that's awesome. You're cheering on your team, but there's no need to panic. Like Stephen A. Smith, he's panicking like a New York Knicks fan is panicking because his prediction is maybe in jeopardy of the Warriors not winning the championship. It's like it's hella weird. It's like they made it. I don't care. To me, 2015 will always be the championship. I'll always remember. That's
Yeah.
because for me, it's like for fans like me, I never thought I would see my team get a championship in my lifetime. Period.
Sabotage is saying,
Yeah.
so you all Warrior fans here. You know, I would say
It's in the name. It's basically in the name. 408, right?
like of course growing up you have that team of that's a home team. But I think a lot of us here have also grown up loving basketball to where if that's the home team though, we watch other basketball too. Like say for Jason down there, even though I know he's a diehard Warriors fan, I know he was also watching the Knicks because he was also a Patrick Ewing fan. You know what I mean? So like, uh, of course, with me on the flip side of that, of course I love the Warriors, but I grew up in the Jordan era. You know, I seen him get smacked down and get beat up by Detroit and all these dudes, you know, before he got his comeuppance, right? Of like, you know, besting these fools. So like right now we're just basically talking about you know, the culture of like, oh, should we be worried? Should not. And I do like Jason's point of, hey, you know, I think a lot of us here have gone through those bad times of like short seasons, bad picks. You
A
know,
lot of bad picks.
a lot of bad picks. Jason
A
was saying,
lot of bad picks.
you know, the dark times of 17. You know what I mean? Of 17 wins, bad coaches too. And I was trying to think the other day too of like, you know, who has been here.
The
The,
PJ Carlissimo days.
none
He
of
was a great
you.
coach. It's just that certain players don't match to his coaching style.
Well,
No, yeah.
Sab does have a question here. He goes, "None of you were Kings fans." I was a Kings fan because of the game of basketball. So if I love Chris Webber because he was drafted as a Warrior, I'm going to follow him if he's going to Washington. If he's going to, you know, because that's a Fab Five. You know what I mean? These guys. When people talk about Iverson bringing in and ushering hip hop, fucking Chris Webber and his crew
Nah,
did that shit fucking first.
the Fab Five brought that in.
Dude, they brought the long
Black
pants.
socks,
Right?
you know what I mean?
Yeah.
They're
So
the ones who started the long pants.
so I'm sorry, right, Sab, because Sab is a Lakers fan, right? So of course I was rooting against you guys. You know, of course I was rooting against you guys. I had love for White Chocolate, Peja, you know what I mean, Turkaloo, you know what I mean. I loved watching that just because of the game of basketball. But are you asking
Yeah,
if I'm a diehard Kings fan?
No.
I wouldn't be able to say that.
No.
I did like Mitch Richmond, but I liked Mitch Richmond because he was on fucking Golden State.
That's my
You know what
guy.
I'm saying? So
Yeah.
Mitch was
yeah.
my guy.
Oh,
But
Jason's a big Mitch
watching
Richmond fan too.
Yeah, but watching like Jason Williams, it's like, yeah, he was he was a very dynamic player. Of course, you're gonna watch him, but am I like gonna like chase that fucking the Kings games and see and trying to watch them every week or something? No,
Sab,
no.
Sab put here, it's okay. Everybody hates us even when we lose. And yeah, because of course you're gonna have your
Oh, I
own.
love it when you gotta lose.
It's the best.
It's
But
the
see,
best.
this is
This
the
is my
thing, though,
fucking
too.
favorite. This is my favorite season. The fucking every fucking player that I hate is on the Lakers.
Yeah.
It's like, oh,
honestly,
man.
this is the
It's fucking
season
dumpster fire. It's fucking
you
awesome.
are correct. Yeah, this is the
I bought
season to
League
hate.
Pass. I bought League Pass to watch it lose.
No, if you're gonna hate the Lakers, this is definitely the season to hate the
Yo,
Lakers
I'm
because they
fucking
tried to
chapter
because they
president
try to
Laker
put a
haters.
they try to put a super team together, right? They try to get all these different players,
Fucking good
and they
luck
try
with
to
Westbrook.
and they tried to like make that run, and they just went nowhere. You have all these expensive
It was
players,
it
all
was
these
awesome.
big names, and they all did nothing.
It was
if you're gonna hate on the Lakers, this is definitely the best year to hate on the Lakers.
Seeing James Worthy try to explain what happened is like priceless. I'm
Oh man.
All I'm gonna say is
I don't
this.
care. I already won. Like fucking.
Yeah.
I already had a fucking awesome season.
All I'm gonna say is this.
LeBron lose his hair and shit.
Yeah, and then he grew,
Okay.
and then somehow he Space Jam money got his hair back.
And
Yeah,
then
they CGI'd that.
yeah, it's like fucking Anthony Davis get hurt again. It's like, damn,
Glass House.
it's fucking. Dude, this is probably the best season.
Okay,
This is
Zach-
better than the 73 win season. Really. It's like-
Well, yeah, because they didn't win the, they didn't win the
I
championship that
fucking
year.
hate
They didn't win the
It doesn't
championship
matter.
that
It's
year.
like I just fucking I don't care. I just like seeing the Lakers lose. That's like I don't care if the Warriors win.
Well, here's a question for you, though, guy. I mean, but we do love the game of basketball, right? So, I mean, for you, Jeff, who is your favorite Laker?
Favorite Laker?
Yeah.
Oh, it's fucking
You guys say some shit like Derek Fisher or some shit like that, aren't you?
oh, I got no respect for Derek Fisher. I'm glad Matt Barnes punched his ass.
It's gonna be some weird. It's gonna be Matt Barnes, huh?
Yeah.
Oh, my favorite Laker.
You say Luke Walton and be like, oh my god. First
Ooh,
of
that's
all,
a great pick, dude. That's
First
a
of all,
great
he's
pick
just a
right there.
coach. Second of all, oh my god, the sexual assaulter. Okay.
Smush Parker.
There you go, Smush Parker. That's one of my
Nick
favorites,
Young.
dude.
Nick
Suck,
Young.
dog.
I'm gonna say Nick Young.
Oh, Kyle Kuzma too.
Kuzma, yes, the glue.
I
He was the
love
linchpin.
Kuzma.
If he stayed, that team
Love
would have been
Kuzma.
that team would have been in the playoffs this year. That team would have made the playoffs this year if Kuzma stayed.
It's fucking
Literally the difference.
man. I love it when fucking Kobe made a point. I think it was like one of the playoff games, second half. He didn't shoot. He made a point. It was like, dude, he fucking protest, dude. They lost that game. It was game 7. It's like, fuck it. I'm not shooting. I'm not doing shit.
Oh
Like,
shit.
hey, there's no Kobe slander. Fucking Kobe's Kobe. You know, R.I.P. But he was, he pulled shit up like that. Hey, he made a point. He's like, man, my
Because he
teammates
could
suck.
though. Because he could though.
Yeah, because he said, like, dog, I need help. My teammates suck. And he made a point. It's like, I ain't shooting. Let's see how these motherfuckers win.
He just stopped shooting that corner.
Yeah,
right? He was
dude.
like,
He started, like, start passing. Like, not
Sam
aggressive.
has a good question here too. Oh, by the way, dude, like I mean, I growing up also, I think we've talked about this before, Joff. Like, our parents or our uncles and stuff, their era was you either like Boston or L.A.
Yeah, exactly.
So we of course
Showtime
we grew
Lakers
up-
is definitely fun. Like,
Yeah.
I'm not gonna deny it. Showtime
Yeah, no,
Lakers
I
is
love
fun,
Magic.
dude. Magic Johnson.
I was
is
sad.
amazing.
I was
Yeah.
sad when he fucking, Magic got AIDS. I was sad.
crazy.
He shouldn't have kissed Isaiah Thomas then.
I was
Wow.
sad. dog.
Yeah, we knew nothing about AIDS back then. It was so
Oh,
dumb.
And Magic's
So
probably the
dumb.
greatest fucking basketball. Magic beat AIDS. Fuck Jordan. Jordan never done
Yeah.
shit. Magic beat AIDS. So
Sabotage is saying
Magic's-
so. No
Magic's the
Lakers in
greatest.
your top 5.
Oh, That's
Top
easy.
five what? Team?
five what?
Like players? Top five players?
Players?
Like our
Top
personal
five
top five.
teams?
Top 5 of all time.
Of what? Of what? Top five of what?
Top 5 of all time, right? Is that
Let's
what he's
see.
asking? Of all time?
Let's see what Sab says here. I'm assuming it's top five of all time. Yeah, top five of
Players.
all time players.
Players.
Do you have any Lakers in your top five of all time?
Oh, I do.
Yeah, fucking Magic. You can't deny Magic.
Mm.
My number
Jason?
one is my number one. My number one will always be Kareem.
Ninja, what about you? You got a top five?
I don't know. I've never actually made a top five. I've never sat down and actually thought about it. But I have to imagine that that Magic or Kareem would be on there. I just don't. I just never really thought about it. But yeah, for sure. I wouldn't deny it. I mean, good player's a good player. Hell, I'll put LeBron on there. There you go. He's in the top five.
He's not even really a Laker, dog.
No, he's not. But he's currently a Laker.
Yeah.
So I mean,
LeBron's
that
a
counts.
mercenary.
Fuck,
No,
I would
dude.
probably-
It counts.
I would probably
LeBron
have
is his longevity.
I would probably have
Westy.
I would probably have Magic at my number 2, and I'd probably have Kobe at 5. You know what I mean? Or maybe closer to 4. I don't know. But I would definitely probably even have two Laker greats. You know what I mean? In my personal top 5. So
Cool.
that's a good question though. Hi Marjorie, how are you? Marjorie, I've been trying to reach you all day.
Number one
You feel
Laker
me?
all time.
But yeah, no.
By the way,
you,
by the way, my favorite was Eddie Jones. I was a huge Eddie Jones fan. You know what I mean? So I fucking love the way Eddie Jones.
Nick Van
played.
Exel for me, guys.
Yeah,
Nick,
the dark
Nick Van
years of the
Exel.
Lakers, right? You know what I mean? I was watching those games because I like Eddie Jones and shit, dog.
Yeah, I'm gonna call Nick Van Exel out and say
Kobe
he would be
5,
my
you
number
tripping
one.
though? Because I rooted against Kobe though, Sab. I was one of those fans.
Hey.
Kobe needed me to hate on him. You know what I'm saying? He needed me to hate on him. You feel me? So of
Kobe
course I was rooting-
being five is not unheard of. Like, to be honest, of all the basketball players of all time, and having Kobe at 5, that's really good. Like, I can already name 5 people that I have, and Kobe being number 6. You know, I mean, I know people love Kobe and respect to Kobe, but if you're talking all-time top 5, he can easily be number 6. There's, I have no doubt about that.
Is that do you share that same sentiment, Joff?
What?
Could he easily be in your 6th spot?
Kobe?
Yeah. Or is he a definite top 5 for you?
I mean, I like Kobe for other reasons, but but
Oh man. And yes, it's what you're thinking of, right? We're talking about what he said allegedly, right? That night in question in Denver, Colorado.
hey,
Right.
I mean, Kobe was young. He's 21. Let a motherfucker make mistakes, man. He grew from it.
What was the
Wait,
mistake that he
what,
said?
was he
that you
21?
liked?
I thought he was
Yeah.
older at that point.
Nah,
He was
he
already married and
What-
shit, wasn't he?
What was the mistake?
He was
what
young,
was the,
dude. He was.
What was the exact
He
line?
was under 20. He was under 25 at least.
Joff, what was the exact line that because Joff used to say this line that Kobe said? And do you remember, Joff, the line that I'm talking about?
Oh yeah, man. I can't say that shit.
I mean, you can't say it, but
I
just
can't say that
just
shit in public, dog.
initialize it. Initialize it.
Nah,
Okay. All right.
he said some wild shit. I can't even say it.
Yeah, but Joff used to say those lines all the time because Joff read the affidavit report. You know what I'm saying? Like, right? Remember how we talked about that? Like, you read everything Kobe allegedly said and all that stuff, and you were like kind of rooting for him at that time, right? And remember how they joked around how Kobe played his ass off in those games? He was just like hella balling. You know what I mean?
Yeah, it was bad, dude. That's
yeah,
his,
we recognize that stuff. We recognize that greatness.
that
you
was
know,
that was
of-
his
of
that was
Kobe.
his safe place, the basketball court.
Yes, dude. That's why he's scoring like fucking 45 or 50, you know. He wouldn't have like big games like during that whole like just like Dave Chappelle said, he was trying to beat that case on the court. You feel me? Like he was just trying to win and shit. So
No,
I'm just
like
saying.
it felt like because before that, Kobe felt like he was trying so hard, like to be just perfect, to be like super not fake, but manufactured. Like he just trying to be like he's just trying to be Jordan, like exactly like Jordan. Like he talks like Jordan, he moves like Jordan. And it's like, dude, just be you. And then like when that happened, it was like he got some dirt on him. That's when people I kind of like, all right, this guy's real. Like the real him came out. So it's like I could you know I could fuck with somebody that's not being too fake or whatever, not being too manufactured. If that makes sense, it's like, oh no, you
No,
got
that's a great point. Sometimes you like guys because they've gone through some trials and some
yeah,
bullshit,
you got some
right?
shit.
So did you like or hate LeBron more or less when he left, when his surrogate dad or whatever, what's his name?
Yeah, no.
Uh,
Delonte
Delonte West, right? When he was smashing cheeks with LeBron's
allegedly.
mom, allegedly.
Allegedly, that's
You
why
know
he
what
had
I
a shit
mean?
game.
Yeah, remember he quit in the middle of the game, right? That was a Boston game, right? He
Yeah,
he, he just quit on court because he couldn't get the thought of a
His
Delonte
his
West, right?
his
Just
best friend smashing
smashing
his mom, allegedly.
hella, it's just hitting that super hard. You know what I mean? Just couldn't get the image. You know what I mean? Of like, his mom getting dragged by Delonte West. You know what I'm saying? Imagine that, dude. You got to play a game, right? And you're like, oh, dude, this mom, this guy knows what my mom's butthole looks like. This sucks.
Allegedly,
You know what I mean?
allegedly,
Allegedly, allegedly,
allegedly.
allegedly. And look where Delonte ended up. Ouch, right? He shouldn't have tapped that. Maybe, you know what I mean? Because he ended, you know, he hit that. Then years later, he's a homeless derelict, right? What city was he roaming in, Joff, before he was found?
I don't know. Like,
He was probably like Forrest Gump. He probably walked across the country, dude. Like,
yeah, he probably did.
feel me? Just city to city and stuff like that. So, um, yeah. Sorry about that. No, but yeah. When Joff said, "I don't even think LeBron's a Laker," it kind of feels that way, even though he won a championship for them. Though he won a championship. I don't care if some people say, "Oh, that didn't count." It was, I mean, it counted. It's basketball. You
Yeah.
know what I mean?
No, I don't think he just. I think he mostly just wants to live in LA, and he's not gonna play for the Clippers. So he just wants to live in LA.
He just wants to play with his son. One season, he's done. That's it.
The
That's his goal.
manipulation of the NBA.
Yeah,
But I got
those
no.
manipulation didn't work because he can't. He lost to the Warriors 3 times. So
Not only that, but he completely coached a bad season this last season, right? I
yeah,
mean,
You got
you
hurt.
make
I mean,
you but you make coaching decisions like what you did. You know what I mean? You got who you wanted on this team. You know
and
what I'm saying?
and now your new coach is Darvin Ham. So
Dude, that's crazy, right? What do you guys think about that? Darvin Ham, right? The great Darvin Ham,
I mean, we'll see. I mean,
The name is amazing.
right?
he did a great job as an assistant coach with Milwaukee. So we'll see what he can do as the head honcho in charge. But that's he's just playing side field to Coach James. So it's you
I
know
mean,
LeBron trying to be like Bill Russell. So I'm just saying, player coach can't be Jackie Moon.
By the way,
like that dude from Taken told Liam Neeson, "Good luck."
By the way, I will say this. So since we're kind of talking about the Lakers and all that stuff, that winning time on HBO, the season just wrapped. Even though the Laker greats are saying, "Hey, we don't like how we're portrayed on the show" and all that stuff, it is an awesome show. It is an awesome show about basketball. It is an awesome like I like the guy that played Magic. I think he did a great job. And not only that, but John C. Riley as Dr. Buss is kind of amazing, and he really gets to show his acting chops uh, on that show. So yeah, I've always again we talked about Boston versus LA earlier of us having to grow up with that. So I think that's why I was a Jordan fan too, because that was the new thing that had came in. Certain guys make that impact. A Jordan, a Chris Webber with or an Allen Iverson. You know what I mean? Certain guys just come in and I haven't felt this way in a long time, but John Morant too. He was that guy, for me of like, dude, this is who I'm enjoying. But I do like how it's different now. Of like, you guys have guys like Luca in the big picture of things, to where it's funny how we look at Steph because he has such that baby face and he's just been here and been consistent that even some parts of the NBA or they're trying to phase him out of like, oh, Steph's kind of an old guy now. He's kind of an old veteran player. It's like, no, this guy's still at the top of his game. You know what I
He's
mean?
30.
So
He's 33. So yeah, he's
yeah.
definitely still legit.
Sab was saying that show was dope. Yeah, that Winning Time was a great show. By the way, my favorite character though on there was Larry Bird. You know what I mean? Because the way that they portray Larry Bird, it's almost like a Stone Cold Steve Austin type character of like, I don't give a fuck. I just want to play fucking basketball. Like, he's not for the bullshit, But to see like Magic like trying to like, yo, I'm trying to warm up to you. I'm gonna beat you, but we're gonna have to be friends at some point, blah blah blah. Like, or I'm gonna have to beat you too. So I love that whole dynamic. Can't wait for season two. But I know that Magic and them have a documentary coming out though too. So
Yeah,
even
Showtime, I think.
yeah, so even though I'm not a Lakers fan, I'm definitely checking that shit out because I was, I mean, a Showtime Lakers fan. Yeah, of course I was a fan of, but like rooting against Kobe and them during y'all championship years and all that, definitely I was rooting against y'all. So when that's funny how you're like, oh, did were you guys Kings fans and all that stuff? You and I've told Grub this. We've had this one discussion, but we've talked about it on the hub before. I'm just saying, the Kings would have won that series if it wasn't for all those fucking crooked refs that was running the fucking game at the time. You know what I mean? These are the same dudes that What was that dude? Donahue,
Yeah, yeah.
right? So like all those crazy calls. You know what I'm saying? Like I'm pretty sure the Kings might have took that, but at the same time, uh, I think certain players for the Lakers, I think they've been good in picking up certain guys where you get a great combination to where you are winning. But we've also talked about the Lakers' follies on here before. Of like, remember how at one point Karl Malone and Gary Payton, that was like the super team that never was, and we had said, hey, with this latest collapse, was this a bigger collapse for them this time around, or was it then? Was that the bigger collapse of like Malone and fucking Payne couldn't do anything down? At the same time, I know Malone was being on some crazy shit, right? Trying to get at Kobe's wife and all that shit. Feel me? Doing all types of extra shit, right? Like y'all ain't give Kobe food poisoning. Oh man. But I think later on, I started liking him as far as like say how I would watch Reggie Miller. You know what I mean? Uh, Reggie was always that enemy that you hated because he was obnoxious. But then after time, you're like, hey, I like this guy. You know what I mean? Or if you happen to be like a Knicks fan, you know what I mean? You like that grittiness back in the day of what Oakley, Ewing, Starks brought. You know what I'm saying to the table. So yeah. Um, I think for me, when Kobe was on some, um, I'm gonna win this by myself. That's when I really, I gave him his props then. But then there was also those parts of like I didn't understand it at the time. But when Kobe was like, I don't want any of my teammates talking to me. Like you shouldn't even talk to me, bro. Like you haven't put in that work to. Maybe at the time I didn't get it. Like why would he be like that? That's a horrible teammate. Like this person's just trying to create a bond with you. But then in hindsight, you look back at it of like, no, Kobe had to put himself at a certain level to where it's like, dude, I hold myself in a much higher standard because I'm putting these standards on myself, and you can't do nothing but fucking respect that. You can't do nothing but respect that. So when I forget who it was, I was trying to talk to him, and he was like, "Dude,
It
don't
was
even
Nick
talk to
Young.
me." Was it Nick Young? He was like, "Don't even talk to me." Remember that whole debacle? Like, dude, don't talk to me, dude. Like you are not allowed to talk to me. Don't ask me about my kids. Don't ask me about nothing. You know what I mean? Yeah, Reggie talked like that too. Yeah, I mean, like I've enjoyed, just ultimately the game of basketball, but root against y'all, yeah. But at the same time, I mean, I've gone through some stuff where, like, I was rooting against the Warriors because at one point I was a huge Kevin Durant fan. So during that shortened season, I watched this guy for an entire summer rock fucking street courts and kill it. So by the time he got back on OKC, it was on and popping. So even though I'm a Warriors fan, hell yeah, I was in a way like torn between like watching somebody that like and this is this is a time when they had West and they had Harden on the team. So this is during the time of when it should have been, but it didn't pan out that way. You know what I mean? I just love the game of basketball. Same with I was kind of torn, watching the Memphis series go down because I am a John Morant fan. I was watching that guy in his last year of college, like, oh, dude, this guy's really dope. And me and another friend got really into him. So when we, see not only does he get to the NBA, but he has an amazing career so far. What 2 or 3 years in now, guys? Right? Like this guy's on the up and up. You know what I mean? So to see him then all of a sudden go against fucking the Warriors, I'm like, damn, dude, this is my new Iverson to me. Even though to you guys, he might not be an Iverson type player, this is my new Iverson right now. I was gonna say, we did get a comment here. My boy Leo here. Uh, Leo saying right here, Warriors should have never left. Are you talking about the town?
Are you talking about Philadelphia?
Are we talking about Philly? I scored 100 points there, right? Said, what's his name?
Are you talking about San Francisco the first time when they moved to Oakland and then moved back
Remember
recently?
that? Remember when they were the San Jose Warriors with that? When they did that stint at the
Shouldn't know
arena,
the town
right?
bad juju. I see.
Dude, that was one of my first NBA games when they had that just a little short season.
Oh, what they were
Um,
when they were renovating Oakland Arena.
yeah, dude. So
Yeah.
I went to go see Chris Mullen. By the way, Jason, I know that your brother recently met Chris Mullen, correct?
Mm-hmm.
They had a couple. They had a couple of selfies together, right?
Yeah.
I should have asked him what he ended up asking him because I believe Jeff might have been the only one in the room that was a Warriors fan and was probably nerding out that Chris Mullen was in the building. I've always liked Chris Mullen's accent from back in the day. He had that New York accent,
Yeah, he's
So
from New York, right? Yeah.
yeah, I've always liked that. He had that tough guy accent about himself.
But yeah, I like like I said, never left the town because it's bad juju. I mean, we'll see. Like if they win the championship this year, it's like, well, there you go. It's not really bad then, I guess.
I just feel bad. I guess for because I mean I do love the town. I think it's an awesome place, but it just sucks when you know what I mean. Even though Not not I might be a different fan from you guys. I am a Niners fan and stuff, but I do understand culture. So I do understand that, hey, even though we might hate and have our own hot takes and stuff like that here, I do feel bad that fucking a place like Oakland is actually losing sports teams, losing culture,
Yeah.
losing that blue
No.
collar
Mm.
type mentality that was established by guys like, say, the A's of the '70s, or
Mhm.
the Raiders of the early '80s and stuff like that. You know
Yeah.
what I mean? And not only that, a lot of people have that thing about Oakland where, man, it's very gentrified now with certain things. A
Mhm.
lot of the old places, like places near the Fox Theater, that mainstays, the restaurants around there, they're not even there no more. Maybe because of pandemic, maybe because rent's too high, or whatever. So it
Well,
does.
even before pandemic, yeah, even before pandemic, Oakland was definitely starting to change and gentrify. So
I do hope though that something else were to happen in the town too. I mean, I know Jason is a huge A's fan too. I started off as an A's fan as my first sports team. You know what I mean? So I hope that they stay in the town. I hope that they get a new home. I hope they get whatever they deserve, because it is disheartening when I'm even though I'm all the way here in Sacramento, I'm watching the news and I'm watching the lowest attendance, right? They're one of the lowest
well,
attendance
dude, they
teams,
are
right?
terrible this year. They started off 7-21, I believe, is their record currently. I just read it really quick. It's the worst start they've ever had since moving from Kansas.
Leo has a good thing here. Only reason why SF wanted them back because they were winning. Politics also played a part. They're just squeezing real fans, just like how they did with the Niners. So that's
Well, yeah, of
Leo's
course.
take on
It's
that.
it's always it's always about money. There's no two ways about it. They can the premium for charging people at a new stadium. They can charge X amount over what they were charging people in
Yeah,
in
and
Oakland,
at the arena. So
especially
it's
because they're winning. Yeah,
and it's ownership. They're willing. This is an ownership that wants to win at any cost. So I mean, if they're willing to pay over $170 million on luxury tax and not care about that, that's a complete 360 from the ownership we used to have.
yeah, yeah. And how are they
One
going to
six,
recoup those costs? Yeah, and how are they going to get that money back?
yeah. So I mean, it's like they're willing to do whatever it takes to have a winning product for the Bay Area, and that's the type of ownership that people really want, and it's hard because of course, like when you're paying that amount of luxury tax, you also got to think about, hey, we got to raise prices in the arena, and the way the way they do ticket prices now, it's like they price tickets pertaining to who they're playing against. So if they're playing, like, let's say the Warriors are playing like Detroit, right? Like there's one game where I went to before COVID, like the first year they opened Chase Center, right? I got club level seats for like $60, like legit, and they were playing the Magic or the Pacers. I think it was the Pacers, and look at the prices now; they're like super inflated. But they tend to price everything on what team plays what team. That's how it is now. It's not like there
Yeah,
was no set ticket
that's every
price.
team. That's every
Yeah,
team.
it's
Yeah.
every team, not just
But
here.
be, but
It's
because
an
it is the Warriors, they can charge a premium already on
oh
top
yeah,
of that, right? So your baseline is already going to be higher than normal, So
legitimate. So that's how they make their money back off of
yep,
luxury tax is fans like fans like us paying so much money, like you
paying that much money to go to the thing, to watch the show, to eat the food, to buy the merch,
yep.
right? Like,
That's how it
yeah,
works.
I mean, Steph Curry's jersey has been one of the most popular, if not the most popular jersey for the past, like, I don't know, 5 years or some shit like that, right? I mean, that's they're making a shit ton of money that way too. So yeah, you gotta cash in. You gotta cash in when you can, and that's basically what they're doing right now.
Oh, and the A's have 20 wins this season.
They have
So
what?
the A's have 20 wins.
They have 20 wins. I thought I
Yeah,
just saw they were at 7-21.
that's their um, that's their home record.
Oh, that's their home record.
Yeah.
I haven't really been paying attention to how many games have been going on right now.
All right, guys. Well, I was going to say episode 148 of the Hub 408. My name is Ron Sar. That's Ninja Iceberg. Mannequin Skywalker, aka Joffsimus down there. You just made the list, aka Jay Jericho. Pretty pleased with the cherry on top. Follow us here on Kumu. You'll see all our names down there below. Those are our Kumu usernames. Make sure you're following us. If you happen to be watching us on Twitch, if you guys happen to be watching us on Facebook, YouTube, thank you so much for joining us. Being in the comments too. We're awesome. It's awesome that we get to engage with you guys in this type of way. Today we covered things like Obi-Wan, of course, a little bit about the Warriors and sports in general. I know there's a lot of other stuff that we didn't get to cover, but we'll be back next week with that. We're going to wrap the show up in a couple of minutes here. But let's get into some recommendations. If you guys have a book, if you guys have a show, if you guys have a movie, go ahead and comment down below. Maybe we'll, talk about it real quick. But let's start off with some recommendations. Joff, you haven't been here in a minute. You know what I mean? So, do you have any recommendations for this episode of the Hub 408?
Honestly, I haven't been watching anything.
Mm.
Like, I haven't. I haven't been really watching anything. So I mean, watch Obi-Wan. I don't recommend that. Just, you know, see motherfuckers getting dragged in the streets like some random whore. Fucking Vader.
Like a dog in the street, huh? Shot
Yeah,
down, huh?
fucking force choke, motherfucker, force snapping necks. It's like he didn't care, dude. It was great. I was so happy to see it.
Isn't it awesome to see Vader on screen again, though, Joff? Right?
It's just doing fucking Vader shit. Like, you know.
Right? He's
Yeah,
ultimate
it's-
heel, right?
Yeah,
He's
it's
ultimate
like
heel.
fucking took this lady minding her own business inside her fucking house. Fucking used the force to drag her out of the house and dragged her in the middle of the street. I was like, oh man, that's so cool.
Well,
Did you like
but right before that, he like snapped the neck of like the
Some
older
kid,
guy,
yeah,
and the
Yeah.
kid came out to try and stop him, and then snapped his
Yeah.
neck too.
yeah,
Yeah.
He straight up killed two people like right off the bat.
yeah. For no good reason, just because he can.
because he can.
Because he's Anakin.
Oh,
Or
wait, hold
Anakin.
on. In respect to what's going on in the world today, we don't mean to make fun or make light of anything, but there's been a couple shows that's going on where they're having disclaimers of, hey, they're showing a bunch of violent stuff here, and along with all the violent other stuff going on in the world, there's a disclaimer. I saw one, or Ninja had mentioned one for Obi-Wan. If you guys didn't watch Stranger Things, Stranger Things also has a disclaimer in the beginning of their stuff. I was able to watch that. It's actually maybe one of my recommendations. But Joff and Jason, how did you feel like because me and Ninja seeing it happen in real time of course, but how did you feel when all of a sudden just real quick just to wrap up some Obi-Wan Star Wars stuff? How did you feel when all of a sudden the first scene is the younglings getting slaughtered? You know what I'm saying? Like how'd you feel about it? Because Jason, I've always joked about that's one of my favorite scenes of the kid twitching, getting scared when all of a sudden Darth Vader comes in the room of like, right before their imminent death, right? It's it's a sad scene, right? But I've always thought that in some sick, weird way that was funny. You know what I mean? So how did you feel though watching all of a sudden that first scene of that one Jedi defending? You know what I mean? All that stuff. Joff, how'd you feel when you saw that?
Hey, man. Shit.
Order 66. You feel me?
Hey, Vader Anakin try to find out if they learned some shit in their lessons. Keep them fucking sabers up, kid.
They ran though, right? That
Huh?
particular class ran,
They made it.
right?
They made it out.
So they're the ones that's probably getting hunted now, right? In the current timeline.
And
But
I have to imagine Third Sister was one of them.
Yeah,
I,
it seemed like it.
it has to be, right? Because I think there was one that could have been a younger version of her.
Yeah, it seemed like it.
mm. So Jason, how did you feel when all of a sudden, that infamous part that me and you both love, all of a sudden you get to see it again on the screen? How'd you feel when you saw that?
I did the run, and then they ran. I was like, yes, they made it. I was like, ooh. Inquisitors showed up. I was like, half of them joined, and then the other half are being hunted by their own classmates. So that's the way I saw it. I was like, you pick one
Man,
side or
crazy.
the other. It's all crazy. But yeah,
Well, Job, I was going to say that's actually a pretty good pick. Uh, anything else though besides Obi-Wan though, Joff?
No, no, I haven't had a chance to watch We Own the City or something like that.
Yeah, I really
Uh,
want to check that out too.
yeah, I
Yep.
want to check that out. I just haven't had a chance to. But yeah, that's. I heard it was good. I mean, it's from the people that made The Wire, so they went back to Baltimore, so it should be good. And I just haven't had a chance to watch it.
Yeah, that's on HBO Max, I believe. So yeah. Um, what about you, Jason? Do you have any recommendations for this episode?
uh, I don't actually, but I will say this: you do not buy Madden 23. It's just a reskinned Madden 18.
Damn, they go back fucking that many years. Yeesh.
I'll tell you why. Because the last Madden I actually bought was 19, and this was probably like 2 months in after I bought the game and played. I went to go check replays. I was like, let me see if they fix this. I saw a banner for 2018 in a Madden 19 game, so
Oh, crazy.
it's been reskinned again. So yeah, I mean, if you want to buy it for the John Madden cover, that's fine. But man, they're charging for the all Madden package. I think it's like 100 or 150 or something like that. It's some crazy number. Making money off
Crazy.
of a great coach's name, man. Kind of messed up.
I mean, they've been making money off a great coach's name
For
for
like
25
multiple years,
years.
yes, exactly.
I don't understand why you would object to them making money off a great coach
Because they upped the price to
now.
an all Madden. You know,
On just the price points and stuff.
yeah,
Well, they're also not. I aren't they losing the contract already? The NFL
I think so.
contract.
Yeah.
Yeah. So this is their last hurrah. So whatever. They're not gonna have the exclusive contract anymore. So it doesn't really matter.
Oh, that's finally ending.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, because it seemed like they're just coasting for the longest time.
Exactly.
Random video game fact, but has something to do with football. I did not know that certain old school games, and we're talking about the NCAA stuff, right? Whether it was on PS2 or PS3 or Xbox or whatever it was. I did not know though that those games are actually worth something depending on who the fuck is playing that season. You know what I mean? So like,
Interesting.
yeah, I seen this one guy flipping all those old games because you find them at like say a Goodwill or wherever, right? Like people just always trying to get rid of those games or sports games. But certain games, like, oh, this guy was actually, in his last year, or whatever it is, this player was there. So those games are actually worth something, to where, like, imagine paying $40 for a PS2 game, like, nowadays,
Yeah,
complete. You know what I mean?
I'd pay for the one that had I'd pay for an NCAA basketball game if it was the UCLA the O'Bannon brothers
Oh,
tie
the
in game.
O'Bannons. Oh, yes.
I'd pay for
That's
that.
that's my team right there. I'm a
I'd pay for
UCLA
that
guy.
I just really like the
partly because of
O'Bannons. Yeah.
partly because of the O'Bannons, but also partly because they're the ones who basically started to do the whole names, image, likeness
Yeah.
thing.
Yep.
Getting paid for being in these games and getting paid for it. So I would definitely pay money for that year's edition.
Yeah. Yeah, but any other regos? No? Okay. What about you, Ninja? Any regos for this episode?
Yeah, a show that me and the girlfriend have been watching, Star Trek, Strange New Worlds. It's on Paramount Plus, unfortunately. So if you don't have Paramount Plus, it's going to be kind of hard to catch. But if you do, I totally recommend it. It's basically the prequel to the original series of Star Trek.
Oh,
So
wow.
it's pre Kirk. It's a pre Kirk
Pre
young
Spock.
No, Spock is on there. Uhura's in there, but Kirk is not the captain yet. So in the original series, Christopher Pike was the original captain of the Enterprise, and this is the story that follows him before Kirk becomes the captain. And it's really good, honestly. Right now, it's definitely a really good show. Honestly, I feel like it's better than what Obi-Wan is like right now, and it's definitely better than Boba Fett.
Nice.
It's got a very fun. It's a very fun show, but it also has a lot of heart and seriousness to it. But it also has the episode of the week. Each episode each week deals with something new. There's no real overarching storyline. It's just they're
You
doing
can
stuff and
jump
they
in
have
at any time.
you can jump in at any time, but if you watch it from the beginning, you can just watch what they're doing and how they're going through the adventures of what they're doing as they're going throughout. And yeah, it's definitely got a little bit. It's got the charm of the original series. It's got the goofiness of the original series, but and it's got like the philosophical stuff of the original series, right? Like it hits all the right beats of the original series, but with modern sensibilities. So it's not as cheesy, it's not as corny as if you had watched the original series, right? Like the original series is good, but it's got a lot of corniness to it, a lot of 1960s aesthetics and
Oh, that's
sensibilities.
cool.
Whereas nowadays it's updated, it's more modern, it feels more modern, but it still has like a lot of the core of what made the original series fun and interesting and popular. So even though I'm personally more of a Star Wars fan, I definitely watched a lot of Star Trek going up, and I can definitely recommend Strange New Worlds if you want to get into watching some Star Trek stuff.
I've
It's
actually
really
heard,
good.
yeah, I've actually heard really great recommendations, or things said about that Strange New World. So that's cool. Uh, Anything else besides that?
No, that's about it. Like everything else, I'm still watching from previous weeks. So, um, animes and stuff like that. Nothing new. Nothing else new. But these are the things that I have been watching.
Gotcha. I have two recommendations. Well, three, I guess. I mean, if you're into Stranger Things, go check that out. The new first half, I think, just dropped. Pretty cool. But the two things that I like that I just saw recently, you guys know I'm a huge Norm Macdonald fan. All of a sudden, he put something out on Netflix where I believe what it is was, if you guys don't know, he did die of a 9 year long battle with cancer.
Yeah,
Did not tell anybody.
technically he didn't put it out, right?
Yes, he did not tell anybody. he was like, "Hey, I just want to do my work and have people laugh. I don't want sympathy. I don't want any of that stuff." Right. So like he just worked all these years. I guess he was going to have a procedure pre-COVID or right before COVID hit, to where he was like, "Hey, in case something happens, let me at least record what I've been working on." So he records almost an hour's worth of material just into his laptop and a mic, kind of like how we've been talking to each other all this whole time. So this is his last new material that he was working on. Uh, one of my biggest regrets is I could have seen him in San Jose at the Improv pre-COVID. There is footage of that online. He's wearing a dope ass Nike windbreaker. But that's those were one of the last times he was out in public. But this particular material he never got to show or do yet. So he does it in front of a camera, and right after that, you're led to a what's up, RJ? How are you? You're led to a setting where you have Dave Letterman, Dave Chappelle, Molly Shannon, David Spade, Adam Sandler, and I could be missing somebody else. Conan O'Brien. You have all the guys that know Norm really well, and they basically are talking to them about what they just watched. And the backstory to this is they actually went to a memorial for Norm Macdonald when all of them got pulled aside without them knowing. They all got pulled aside, and this is what we actually see that we're watching of them, just like us watching it for the first time and reacting off of that. It's awesome to see comedic minds, talk comedy, right? Talk shop, right? They like, being at the table and, telling jokes and riffing on each other and stuff. But, you know, uh, this was just somebody that was well beloved in the community, to where like, hey, he was everyone's favorite comic, Norm. So for Dave Chappelle, and we know Dave Chappelle is a god when it comes to like comedy and stuff like that. Like for him to show props and for him to tell his own stories of like, dude, when I met, him and Norm Macdonald made a movie together, right? Screwed, I believe. So like he talks about that, which is a great story too. Like so many guys have their own stories about him. Such a cool thing to check out. So that's my recommendation. It's on Netflix right now. It's called Nothing Special. You know what I mean? And it's weird watching Norm do it because where people are supposed to laugh, you picture in your head. But this is a guy that's just telling you these jokes, but he acts like it's such almost like a master class in a way. It's so cool seeing how he goes and flips it. So when from that aspect going into another comedy aspect, I believe it's on Hulu. There is a two-part documentary on George Carlin, and George Carlin is probably in my top three comedians of all time. He's one of the only comedian. The first time I went to go see a comedy show, I got to see George Carlin in fucking Vegas. You know what I mean? That was my initial, like, oh, I'm gonna get to actually see one of my heroes, do their thing. You know what I mean? So, this two-part documentary shows him from the 50s, 60s, of being like that comic to being counterculture in the 60s and 70s, and finding his way as being somebody through the 90s and 2000s. So again, if you guys like comedy, check out two of the best comedians ever. You know what I mean? George Carlin, again, that's on Hulu. That two-part documentary, and Norm Macdonald with Nothing Special, his last special. So yeah, that's pretty much it. This is a Hub 408. Was there anything else that we forgot about, guys? I know that there were other things that I did want to kind of cover or talk about and stuff. We didn't really get to talk about though too. I kind of wanted to talk to you guys about and just pop culture news and all this stuff. Even though sometimes we don't want to get into heavy stuff, we want to get into the fun stuff. That the Amber Heard Johnny Depp trial that just ended. You know what I'm saying? Which was To some people, it was either the most entertaining thing they ever seen, you know what I mean, or some people didn't have a care for it. Other things that I did want to touch on, but we didn't get to see was, or that we didn't get to talk about. Joff, I wanted to talk about some wrestling. You
Okay.
know what I mean? And it's too bad
Yeah.
that we ran out of time because man, like all of a sudden, if you guys don't know MJF from the AEW, he dropped a crazy promo that borders on the line of what am I watching here? Is this real? Is this fake? What am I looking at here? So this promo has definitely like set the thing on fire, the wrestling world on fire. But prior to that was Sasha and Naomi walking out of the WWE, them
It's
not
yeah.
being happy
Yeah.
with their storylines.
CM
And
Punk is hurt too.
and
Here,
right
here,
before we went on the air, CM Punk, had to relinquish the belt because he
No,
got
he's not relinquishing it. They're just gonna have an interim champ. He's gonna
mm,
be out. I don't know how long, but he's gonna have surgery. There's probably something wrong with his foot or something.
yeah, he probably botched it doing what's that? What he was doing Page's move, right?
No, he didn't get hurt there. I think he got hurt
The next one, right?
Dynamite on Dynamite.
Yeah, the next one with FTR, the Heart
Yeah,
Boys or whatever they're called
yeah,
now, right? Or no, what they call CMFTR, right? That's what they were
yeah.
calling him. Yeah. So yeah, a lot of stuff that was happening in wrestling that I wish we got to get to, but I mean we could talk about that a different time. I was gonna say yeah, I didn't know if there was anything else that was out there that I wanted to talk about. Oh, another recommendation. I know I talked about this last time, but if you haven't seen Chip and Dale, it's an awesome movie. Go check that out. It's on Disney
It's really
Plus.
good. It's really good. I think I want to say I might have brought that up before, but yeah,
Really,
no,
really good movie.
it's really good. It's very fun. Very fun. It's basically like spiritual sequel to like Who Framed Roger Rabbit.
But
It's a
every
mystery.
every
You know,
scene had something to look at, which was like fucking mind blowing, and
yeah, it's
you know,
really good, and it's a Lonely Island joint. So
and for them to use DC characters, for them to use certain things that you would never see on screen or paired up together, like all of a sudden fucking Chun Li's in it. You know what I mean? Like why is fucking Chun Li here? You know what I mean? Or like fucking MC Scat Cat and Paul Abdul. You're like, what the fuck? What the hell is going on here? You know what I mean? Very, very cool. Yeah. So yeah. Again, this is a Hub 408. Thank you guys for joining us. Anything else, guys, that you want to say before we get up out of here?
nothing. I'm
Uh-huh.
good. Let's go.
All right. Take care, y'all, and we'll see you guys.